Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Liu. Last class we learned the structure, specification, examination of filiform needle, needling practice, selecting of filiform needle and sterilization and the posture of the patient. Today we will learn the contents as follows. First, manipulations of inserting needle. Second, manipulations of needling techniques. Third, getting chi. Fourth, reinforcing and reducing methods. First, let's study the manipulations of inserting needle. Section 5. Manipulations of inserting needle. Insertion of needle needs coordination of both hands. Generally in clinic practice, the thumb, index, and middle fingers of the right hand hold the handle of the needle like a posture of holding a pen. So the right hand is called puncturing hand. In the process, the left hand processes along the punctured point to fix the skin so that the needle can be inserted into the right spot. Therefore, the left hand is called pressing hand. Clinically, the common methods of insertion are as follows. First, inserting the needle with a single hand. This method is commonly applied for short filiform needles. The needle held by the thumb and index fingers is inserted into an appropriate depth of point with the aid of middle finger pressing the point and supporting the needle body. Inserting the needle with both hands. Inserting the needle aided by the pressure of the finger of the pressing hand. The puncturing method is also called thumbnail assisted insertion or finger press insertion. Press beside the point with the nail of the thumb or the index finger of the left hand and keep the needle tip closely to the nail. Then insert the needle into the point. This method is suitable for short needles. Inserting the needle with the help of both hands. Wrap the needle's body with a cotton ball by the thumb and the index finger of the left hand, leaving 0.2 to 0.3 cm of each tip exposed, and hold the needle handle with the thumb and index finger of the right hand. As the needle tip is directly over the selected point, insert the needle swiftly into the skin with the right hand. This method is suitable for long needles. Inserting the needle with the fingers stretching the skin. Stretch the skin where the point is located with the thumb and index finger of the left hand. Hold the needle with right hand and insert it into the point rapidly to a required depth. This method is suitable for the point on the places where the skin is loose, such as tianshu on the abdomen. Inserting the needle by pitching the skin. Pitching the skin up along the point with thumb and index finger of the left hand. Insert the needle rapidly into the point with right hand. This method is suitable for puncturing the point on face, where muscle and skin are thin, such as yin tan. Angle and the depth of insertion. The angle and the depth of insertion are required after the needle is inserted through the skin. In the process of acupuncture, appropriate angle and depth are the key to induce the needling sensation, raise therapeutic effect, and prevent accidents. One point exerts its therapeutic effect not only depending on the correct location on the surface, but also the angle and the depth of insertion. In clinic practice, The same point shows obviously different effect on needling sensation, direction of needling sensation transmitting, and therapeutic result often due to different angle and depth of insertion. Therefore, the angle and depth of insertion should be flexibly applied based on the location of the point, the therapeutic purpose, the patient's body constitution, and the needling techniques. The angle of insertion is made based on the location of point and the therapeutic purpose. Generally, there are three kinds: perpendicular, oblique, and horizontal. Perpendicular. In this method, the needle is inserted perpendicularly, forming a 90 degrees angle with the skin surface. Most points on the body can be punctured in this way. Oblique. The needle is inserted obliquely to form an angle of approximately 45 degrees with the skin surface, suitable for the point where the muscle is thin or close to the important viscera, or applied for the points which are not suitable for perpendicular or deep insertion. Points on the chest and back are often needed in this way. Horizontal. This is also known as transverse insertion. The needle is inserted horizontal to form a 15 degrees for few angles with the skin. This method is commonly used in the places where muscle is thin, such as the point on the face. Depth of needle insertion. First of all, deep insertion is not suitable for the elderly often suffering from deficiency of qi and blood, or for infants with delicate constitution, but suitable for the young and middle-aged with musculature of fatty shape. Secondly, shallow insertion is advisable for patients with weakness and thin shape, while deep insertion for the patient with musculature or fatty shape. Thirdly, shallow insertion is advisable for the young syndromes and new disease, while deep insertion for the young syndromes and old disease. Finally, shallow insertion is advisable for the point on head, face, chest, upper back with fewer muscles, while deep insertion for the point on forelimb, buttocks, abdomen with rich muscles. It should be closely attended to assure the angle and depth of insertion on the point located on eyes, chest, back, some places with important organs, as well as 天枢, 分府, 衙门, and so on. Section 6. Manipulations of needling techniques. The basic manipulation techniques. Lifting and slotting method. After the needle is inserted to a depth, the lifting and slotting method is conducted by lifting the needle to a superficial layer and then slot the needle to a deep area, which is repeatedly performed as required. Rotating method. After the needling is inserted to a desired depth, it is rotated clockwise and counterclockwise continuously and repeatedly. The strength, frequency, and duration of manipulation are based on the patient constitution, pathological condition, location of point, and therapeutic purpose. During the manipulation, it requires even finger force, general range with 180 degrees, but not rotating clockwise or counterclockwise alone, for it will turn the muscular fibers to cause pain or stuck the needle. The supplementary manipulation techniques. The supplementary manipulation techniques are conducted to induce a level of qi or strengthen the needling sensation during acupuncture. Clinically, following 6 scans of technique are commonly applied. First, the placing method. Slightly place the skin along the course of the meridian. This method may encourage the qi coming. It is applied for patients who suffer from qi stagnation or whose needling sensation is delayed after the needle is inserted. Flicking method and scraping method. The fourth, shaking method, and the fifth, flying method. The sixth, trembling method. Section 7, getting qi. Getting qi, known as level of qi in ancient time and needling sensation in recent time, means that after the needle is inserted to a certain depth of point, it is manipulated with the needling techniques of lifting and thrusting or rotating to get the sensation of meridian qi. There are 2 aspects to assure if the meridian qi comes: the patient's needling sensation or reaction and the practitioner's needling sensation. After a level of qi, the patient feels soreness, distension, heaviness, and numbness, sometimes heat, cool, itching, pain, convulsion, and ant walking along the punctured point. All these sensations transmitting upward and downward along the meridians. Some patients show the reactions of muscle pulsation, red or pale line along the meridian. Meanwhile, the practitioner may feel tenseness along the needle or needle trembling. If the qi fails to come, the patient feels no sensation and the practitioner may feel empty and smooth under the needle. It seems a fish bite on fishing pulling the line downward. This is a vivid description to the level of qi. Section 8, reinforcing and reducing methods. Reinforcing and reducing method. The basic methods include reinforcing or reducing by rotating the needle and by lifting and thrusting the needle. Other reinforcing and reducing methods. There are 4 kinds. First, rapid slow reinforcing and reducing method. Second, reinforcing and reducing by puncturing along and against the direction of meridian. Third, reinforcing and reducing by means of respiration. Fourth, reinforcing and reducing by keeping the hole open or closed. Okay, this class is over. Thank you for listening. See you next time.